Moss.
Hey, Wendy Stuart, how are you?
Oh, I am excellent. You know, we're coming off of the July 4th weekend, and welcome to If These Walls Could Talk. I'm Wendy Stuart.
And I'm Tym Moss.
Okay, and we ran a rerun last week. That's right. Wendy never does that.
Right? You never take a day off.
I don't. And you know what? It felt good. It was like
wonderful.
It was amazing.
We have got it. Was
Charles Bush was our rerun.
Yes, Charles.
You know, who's totally entertaining, and everyone loves Charles Bush, who's coming up at 54 Below.
Yes,
July 24th, I think it is. My God.
And they're I think they're showing his movie Die Mommy Die.
Yes.
The 29th and 30th, I think, of July.
Yes, I wrote that down, but I didn't write where the venue is. You know what? There's too many.
I think it's at the IFC.
Okay. So many venues, so many people, so much talent in the world. What more can we say? How was your July 4th?
Oh my God, honey. We've got a lot of catching up to do because we weren't here last week. So we did 50 Shades of Gay the night before.
I remember that. We talked about that. Yeah.
Which was so much fun at the Copa with
Yes.
Michael Musto and Dorothy Bishop performing. We had a ball doing that show. And then I had to run home, get a little sleep, and run back down because I was marching with in New York City Pride with Bronx Borough President Vanessa Gibson.
Right.
And you were with the Imperial Court.
I was on the float with the Imperial
Pride.
There is a video on YouTube. I am having the time of my life. You would have thought I was an empress, and I'm not in the Imperial Court. But you know what? It was Tim, haven't you ever wanted to just be yelling at a crowd from the float and waving? And
yeah, I've done that before.
Pride, New York. That's such a
But I didn't. I was walking and running from side to side, side to side, all the way down. But it was so joyous. It was so incredible. It was a lot of pride that day.
There was so much pride. But you know what? As we had started to notice a definite lack of corporate backing.
Yes.
So hats off to most of the banks. Had a visibility there. Of course, the airlines had visibility there. Thank you for continuing to support it. These are very, for lack of a better word, uncertain times. But you know what? To counteract these uncertain times, I gave a party for 100 people out in my house. In Pennsylvania. It was so much fun. You know, my friends are, of course, in every walk of life, theater, authors, all kinds of things. And I like bringing all different kinds of people together. And it's really, really wonderful when you do that and it happens. And they all love sitting around my pandemic pond. I call it my pandemic pond because I put a pond in, a very big pond, with my pandemic loan from my business. How crazy is that? But that, you know what, that's what we do, right? We have to make it all good and wonderful.
Absolutely. Well, I got out of town for a couple days.
You were,
Blessing. The playwright had asked if I wanted to go to Tomahawk Lake in New Jersey, which I had never even heard of.
Oh my God, it's so fun.
And they had so many water slides, and it was 2 days before the 4th, so we had the entire place to ourselves. It was wonderful.
Oh my God.
And we were just on one slide after the next,
Did you have a favorite water slide, though?
I had a worse water slide. The one that I disliked. It reminded me of Action Park, that it was just this tunnel. It was this enclosed tube, where you walk up this hill and then you jump in this tube and it twists and turns in the dark. All of that.
I don't think our guest is laughing.
This light coming up and wow.
Did you have to have like your arms crossed so that you go faster? They tell you.
Yeah, you're supposed to do that, but I came uncrossed a couple times in the dark in there. Yeah, while I was screaming. But it was fun.
But if you scream in the dark and no one hears you, did you really scream in the dark, Tym Moss?
Oh, they heard me. They heard me.
They heard
they could hear me at one end of the tube or the other end of the tube. Yeah. but then we went down to the Jersey Shore the next day and went to Seaside Heights, which I had never been there before.
Gorgeous, yeah.
Broadway, or beautiful boardwalk, and
so pretty.
And all the rides like Coney Island and water slides. We didn't do any more water slides. We had
no more water slides. Did you eat fried food though? That's what you do at Seaside Heights.
Well, actually, I got some frozen yogurt and some fudge. So.
Oh, that's not too bad, Tim. It only counts when everything you have is extremely fried and produces.
No, when my niece was in town a few weeks ago. We went to Coney Island.
I remember.
No, I had some fried clams on the boardwalk there.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. You get some credit. Yeah, you're going to get some credit for that. So, you know what? We're back. We're rested, and we're ready to float your boat here today, everybody. I have a really wonderful guest. First of all, I adore her publicist, Harlan, and you know, Harlan, when he gets somebody, he'll send out this amazing press release because it's so detailed. You end up learning everything about the person. And our guest today wrote, directed, and starred in the film that we're going to talk about. It is based on someone that we all knew and loved. You all remember Judy Tenuta. My God, what an amazing comedian Judy Tenuta was. She really, I feel, laid a lot of groundwork for the female comedians of today.
Absolutely.
So our guest today actually created this independent film that you're going to be hearing tons about. There's already a huge buzz. It's called It Happened, the Judy Tenuta Story. Please put your hands together for Taylor Blackwell. Yay! There you go. Hi. Oh my God, it's so great to have you on here today.
Great
Thank
to
you.
be here.
I'm thrilled to get Taylor in person.
Hey, Taylor.
I figured you were in LA and where you are a lot of the time.
Yes.
She's a TV actress. And when Harlan wrote to me and said, would you like her in person? I was going to write back, we don't have the budget for that. No, I'm just kidding. But I would have never thought you would be in New York, and good for you.
I'm a New Yorker now. I live in Brooklyn.
Oh my God. Which part of Brooklyn do you live in?
I'll tell you after the show.
Okay. All right. She's gonna tell me that. My daughter lives in Gowanus.
Okay, cool.
And she's your age.
There's weird people. No, I'm sure everyone watching this show is great, but
right. Yeah. No, I know. I totally. Yeah. You know what? That's exactly right. God, I think I've given out my address on this show. Now Taylor's making me totally crazy. Taylor, I love that you decided to do this film. Judy, of course, was way ahead of your time. What is it? What was it that made you create? This is a project where you're starring in it, you're directing it, you're writing. What was the reason? What went off in your head that said, I got to do this?
No, did you even know of Judy Tenuta? Because you're awfully young.
Yeah.
I knew of her more after she passed away.
Wow.
So I had an inkling of knowledge of who she was prior to that, but then my real introduction to her was reading these headlines that the Aphrodite, the accordion, passed away. And that really sparked my curiosity.
That's what they called her, because you connect to the accordion.
I do. I play accordion, so that was very intriguing to me. And the more I learned about her, I just felt she was such a colorful character and
absolutely
such a range in her capabilities, but also as a character on stage.
Yes, she was a character. Yeah.
Yeah. She just had all these layers to her, and I liked how she used her voice as a performer, going very high and
now she's
right. That was perfect.
Right.
Exactly.
But you had to actually encompass totally who she was, enable yourself to do that. That's like completely impressive. Plus all the research that you had to do. What was some of the steps that you took for this film?
I'm always kind of drawn to that stuff, even if I'm not doing it for a project.
Got it.
I just love learning about different artists and creative people. So for me, it was nice to actually get to do that towards something I was making versus just being in my room and looking this stuff up on my own.
Right.
It's nice to be able to now share the info. I just watched every video of her I could find, old comedy specials.
Amazing.
She published 2 books. I read those books. And there's just tons of interviews that she gave, especially towards the end of her life. She did a lot of interviews that were a great resource for me.
Right. And did you have to reach out to people that knew her as well, I would imagine, right?
Yes. Yeah. I spoke to her friends and family, and they also were played a large role in making this film happen. The Judy Tenuta legacy, and Judy's life partner, Vern Payne, he came on as producer and allowed me to actually use her real costumes, her real accordion.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, her friends and family have just been really encouraging throughout this whole process.
But
Nice.
you just said it. This is a huge process, because you weren't connected to her. And sometimes when people do films like this, they were connected to the person in some way, right? And they want to tell the story. You took it cold because it interested you. You wanted to tell her story, and you really had, no one came to you. You're a TV actress, people know, but nobody from TV came to you and said, you know, Taylor, you'd be perfect in this role. We're writing this right now. Right. This is what really impressed me. We want you to star in it. And you put the whole thing together yourself. What is it about you that let you do that? That's like, it's more than curiosity. It's a ton of work.
It is a lot of work. I really enjoy writing, directing. I'm just as passionate about that as acting. And while I really enjoy getting to tell other people's stories, I think where I feel the most in my element is when I'm getting to work on something that is something I've come up with.
Wow.
So for me, selfishly as an actor, this seemed like such a amazing role to play someone so dynamic.
Yeah.
And so that was part of the initial impetus, was let me create this opportunity for myself where I get to try something that I've never tried before as a performer.
Right. And we often hear the word vehicle, but it's always they created a vehicle for somebody. You created it for yourself. It's still really, really incredible to me that you identified with her and just realized that you could play her, and you put all of the elements of it together. You had to reach out to that person.
What was it about her that drew you?
I think what I was saying before, how she had so much range to her. And I liked that she could be more aggressive and a little bit more, for lack of a better term, balls to the wall.
Oh, she was balls, and she was off the rails.
Yeah.
Right.
And you don't really see that often with women in media.
Right.
So that was very intriguing. And I often play kind of more mild-mannered characters, or I'll play more angsty teenagers where I'm texting or rolling my eyes.
Of course.
So this was very different than what I had done before. And as someone who is pursuing multiple creative passions, I'm always seeking the opportunities where those passions can merge. So for me, this was perfect, where I got to sing, I got to play accordion, I got to be thinking about the visuals with directing and then the writing and everything else.
I know, but Taylor, you make it sound so easy. And we know that a lot of work went into this, but to do a vehicle like this is just, when I read about you and what you were doing with it, you realize when someone like Judy Tenuta passes, there were those of us who knew her and we were like, oh, Judy Tenuta. I had people say to me, oh, she's coming on your show. They did not even realize that she was gone. So you, because of what you did, you're creating the memory, the legacy of her greatness. I think she was really groundbreaking in terms of female.
Oh, totally.
Right, Tim?
She was original. She was fresh. She was doing things nobody else was doing.
Right.
She was so unique.
Yes. And that's the hope with this film, is that her fans who see this, they love it and they fall in love with her even further. And then people who don't know her want to go and learn more about her.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because you actually piqued their interest.
And also the good thing about being not only the actor, but the writer and the director is the control.
Yes.
Yeah. And Tim brought me to what I wanted to ask. How much of the fact that you've come up in television and, being directed by other people, how much did that play into you saying, I'm not getting outside people on this, I'm doing this all myself?
Oh, I mean, my whole training as a director has come from being on set as an actor and observing the people I'm working with. And there's some people I've worked with who are wonderful and run a set really efficiently and set a really good tone. And then there's other people.
And there's the others.
Yeah, then there's the other people.
The other ones, right?
Yes.
Those other people.
And you would be surprised. Sometimes the lower budget things I've done, they operate really well just because
it's a lower budget. They got to work tight.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, and also I think they have more passion.
Sure, there's some of that
Right.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, I've had times on set where there are things I want to suggest or throw out, but it's not in my what would be the word?
It's not in your contract.
Yeah,
it's like you're hired to do.
Sure, I'm not supposed. I have to bite my tongue in those moments and allow the powers that be to do what they wish. It's ultimately their vision, and as an actor, I'm there to fulfill a certain role.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm excited by times when I get to call the shots more.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Well, there's so much creative freedom to that.
Right.
You know, and again, that control to where, again, when you walk onto a set and you've got the 10 people over here and the costumers over here and the makeup artist over here and the director over here and the cinematographer over here and you know what I mean? You've got, and all the decisions are already made, and all they need is for you to fill this little block square right here. That's all they need you to do. And whereas with all of that creative freedom, you can do and move. It gives you elbow room to move.
Right, because aside from the element of control, the idea of being more involved in the collaborative elements with all those different departments is exciting to me too.
Right.
I loved.
Yeah.
I've always loved fashion and clothing and costuming. I thought maybe when I was younger that I wanted to be a costume designer or go into that realm. For me, like getting to work with our costumer Bria Holmes was really awesome.
And
because
getting the original wardrobe.
Yeah.
My God, I can't imagine what that would have felt like that Judy wore those things. And
Pretty
then you were
amazing.
wearing them.
Yeah, pretty surreal.
Wow. It was
also her life partner was right there with you.
Yeah.
For to help guidance, you know, as far as this is realistic, that's not realistic. Like keeping you in the guardrails in a way, which is good.
Right, exactly. And that you were lucky enough to have that input. You didn't have to guess at it, you know. He didn't have the control. You had the control over the project, but input as you found out from the friends and family and her partner.
Input and encouragement.
And
too.
Oh yeah. They had to be so happy that you were doing this.
Vern actually has a cameo in our film.
Does he?
So
oh, nice.
Now, this from what I read, this is your first independent film?
This is my first the first film that I've made that has actually had somewhat of a budget. I've made music videos for myself and smaller scale short films, but this was the one that I had really a full team together, not just me running around kind of like a one-man band.
Right.
So this is where you've taken it up.
And
we had a great congratulations.
Company Has Been, who is a production company, and Brent Mata, who runs Has Been. He was my producer and also the cinematographer, and he and I really he's the reason this project very much is why it happened, because he and I had collaborated previously and have a really good working relationship, and he had said to me, well, what should we work on next? What would be a dream role for you? And I brought this idea up to him, and he was a fan of Judy's as well.
So, oh my God! Talk about something meant to be. What project had the two of you worked on together?
We had done some we did a music video for my old band called The 10th. The song's called "I'll Go When It's My Time." So that was our.
I saw that.
Project.
Right, I saw that online, like 2022.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, 2022. Yeah. Maybe. Oh my God! So you met him.
You know what? That would have been earlier, actually. But then we also did another short film where I was just acting. Yes.
And that's how the two of you met. But how incredible that! Look at what you ended up producing together on two other things. You know, it's what we always say, right? Getting the right team together and the right energy and the right people. And you said it. He was kind of the wind beneath your wings on this.
Very much, yes.
Yeah. That's really important to have. The fact that you have done this and you are young, which is great. What was it like for you? And I will get back to the film, but again, I think the story here is as much about you as it is about Judy, because you are the one that's getting her story out there.
Yeah.
When you were a kid, did you like direct your parents around or direct your siblings around?
I think a little bit, like shows in the living room, that sort of thing.
The old shows in the Tim, was that you too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I've been acting since I was 5, so on professional sets. So I've always had this enjoyment of storytelling and the creative
You're
process.
a storyteller, yeah. And
so were any of your parents, either of your parents, were they involved in the arts in any way?
They're sort of adjacent. My dad, when I was growing up, was a local news anchor, and now he's a video production company in South Florida.
Wow.
And my mom, because I was a young actor and model, and my siblings did it as well, she now runs a talent management for young models in South Florida. Yeah, and my aunt is a makeup artist in TV.
It's all in the family.
So, my great grandmother was a performer. She had a restaurant she'd sing and dance at.
Nice.
So it's in my blood a little bit.
Oh my God. Where was
and I love that. And
my great grandmother.
Your great grandma. Yes. I love that.
And I love that you had their support. That they were supportive of that. Yeah. To help to nurture, and
that's the magic.
So you grew up in South Florida.
Yes.
I lived there for a bit in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's usually where I fly into.
You fly into the Fort Lauderdale airport, my God. And now you're up here and you're in New York, which is all the theater.
Well, are you now based out of LA, or are you full-time in New York now?
I'm based here, but since moving here, I've been back to LA a bunch of times. So I'm in a perfect world. I'll be really bi-coastal. Yes.
Bi-coastal. And when it's 110 there, it'll only be 100 here. So see, you made it'll only be 100 degrees here. So you totally made the right choice. So your plan for the film, you're starting out in festivals. Like, I'm sure you've come up with the plan.
Right. Well, we won Best Indie Film at the LA Film Fest.
Yeah.
And that's
a biggie. That's a big one.
That was
really exciting. And now we're waiting to hear back from a bunch of festivals. So as I've been talking about the film, I've been encouraging people watching and listening. If anyone knows a festival, has a connection to one, runs a festival, your friend runs a festival, you can email me personally. My email is tayblackwell@gmail.com, or my Instagram, The Musical Mushroom.
I love your Instagram, The Musical Mushroom. That's great.
Thank you. It's just like a silly name I came up with a long time ago.
Fabulous. It's very Alice in Wonderland.
Alice
in Wonderland. So you're doing the whole film freeway submission thing.
Right, yeah. But if anyone wants to put our film in their festival, we welcome that.
Right. I've got 2 for you. When the show's over that I'll give you. Yeah.
Awesome.
Now, we haven't even mentioned the name of the film is It Happened, the Judy Tenuta.
Yes, we did. Yeah. It Happened, the Judy Tenuta story.
Yes.
Why did you choose It Happened? Like, if I can get analytical, like what happened? How does that encompass things that happened?
Judy's big catchphrase was, "It could happen."
It could, right.
And
right.
We walk you a bit through her life in the film, and she had this pretty miraculous life, and she probably did more in a week than some people do in their whole lives.
Right.
So for me, the idea of it happened was she did all these amazing things, and they really did happen. It happened.
Yeah.
I don't remember, and you would know this far better from your research, how I know she performed with George Carlin. Her big break, though, and correct me if I'm wrong, was the women in comedy thing that she did with Ellen DeGeneres. Women of the Night, or in the night?
Of the Night.
Women of the Night.
Right.
And it was Ellen DeGeneres and Paula Poundstone. That was really the thing
Rita
that launched
Redner,
her.
Yeah.
Rita Redner,
And
right?
then Martin Short was the MC. Yeah, that was definitely a big milestone moment for her, and
Yeah.
I recreate a lot of her set from that show in the film.
Right.
And actually, so you can't see the film yet because we're hoping to do these festivals first.
Right.
No, I tried, and then I was going to call Harlan, and then I thought he's so great about it. He sends you like everything you would ever want to know about the guest. I thought, well, he would have sent it if he wanted me to see it, right?
Yeah, well, we have a trailer out now.
Yes. Oh, the trailer. Yeah.
I think we have a yes.
And then also we put out the music of the film. So that's available, and Judy would sing the song that she wrote called the Pope Song. And we have a music video out of me performing the Pope Song. And Alan Tudyk is in our film. He's a wonderful actor.
Right.
So he's in this Pope Song clip as well. So that's on my YouTube channel. If you just search my name, Taylor Blackwell, you can find that.
And you worked with Alan on another project.
Yeah, we worked together on the show Resident Alien.
You did,
I play his daughter.
Well, yeah, I want to talk about Resident Alien in a minute, but why don't we take a look
Let's
at
do the
trailer?
The trailer.
The trailer for It Happened, the Judy Tenuta story.
And now, please welcome the petite flower,
Judy.
Judy.
Miss Judy Tenuta.
It could happen.
And that's the trailer.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
She piqued our interest on that. The scene with him as the Pope is the one that's a YouTube video, right?
Well, there's a whole song.
Right.
Yes.
For that's in the film.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's in the film, and it's on my YouTube too.
And it's on your YouTube channel.
And also the I can't think of the actor's name that plays the Pope is in Resident Alien. Is the star
right?
of
Yes,
plays
the
the
lead
father.
of Resident Alien. Alan
What is
Tudyk.
his name?
Alan Tudyk.
Alan Tudyk.
Alan
Yeah.
Tudyk. Yeah. How did you find? You're a busy actress. How did you find the time to not only create the film that you're in, but to keep your other things afloat at the same time? You must have been meeting yourself coming around corners.
Yeah. Well, I'm lucky that I had the support of the foundation and my producer Brent Mata, and also just a great cast and crew who I could delegate some roles to within the film, within production.
You were able to do that with the production, so they could be in the film and also do some support for you.
Right, a little bit, but I definitely was wearing a lot of hats in this.
Sure.
But for me, I just try to do a little bit every day towards my different creative projects. A lot of my time is spent auditioning, and then I also try to write every day, and it's helpful to have an actual project to put energy towards.
Mm-hmm.
I try to practice accordion when I can, but when I'm practicing accordion for a film, that's
a whole other
that's
thing.
more fun for me and more it keeps me more focused.
You were so focused.
It almost kind of gives you an escape too, like to forget about the directing and forget about this and forget about the, to just focus on the music.
Do you think a lot of your discipline came from coming up in the industry, and that you're that kind of kid? There's other people I've interviewed in your age group that are, it was all too much discipline and now they want to break free or whatever. You are just completely focused and totally disciplined about your life. It's something, I guess, that you always were that way.
Yeah, I've always been more studious.
Right.
Definitely, I think I have that innately within me, but for sure, growing up on sets and having people relying on me from an early age that I need to behave well or perform well,
right.
I think it does do something to you.
Absolutely.
Maybe not even in a necessarily good way. Sometimes the rebellion is a good thing.
No, but you just said something, having people rely on you. You're a kid and people were relying on you, and you have obviously carried that forward into this film.
Yeah, I think that is really heavy for a lot of people, and like child actors, I mean. Right. I think that's it gets to a lot of people, and I've had my own ways of rebellion, I suppose, but nothing like self like in a harmful way.
No self-harm or anything like that.
Yeah, just more so like exploration, like creative exploration.
I love it. You're like a perfect person. Just feel so jaded sitting next to Taylor here today. My
But
God.
I love the fact that I guess your experience, your lifetime experience in the industry,
Yeah.
has made you more responsible and appreciative and understanding, like understanding the business a little bit better. Because I know several. I'm not going to ask your age. Never ask a lady her age.
We never asked.
But I'm guessing Gen Z, millennial,
Gen Z, yes.
Gen Z, yeah, probably Gen
Okay.
Z.
And I know a lot in there that are like, oh, I want to be an actress. So they go and they do one film or one television show or something like that. And they're like, oh, this is too hard. I got to move on. You know, like they don't really understand the depth and the commitment and the craft itself, you know, so.
Or the level of responsibility that you've taken on. There's just, and it's not putting anyone down that's Gen Z, but
Absolutely.
the fact that you did this film, extremely responsible as a person in terms of what you were producing and your actors in the film and all the people connected, and mostly Judy's family and Judy's partner and Judy's story. You took that mantle and you ran with it. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I would be worried. It's like, Jesus, did I screw this up? Did you ever feel that way?
They were so encouraging that I felt their love whole time.
Uh-huh.
I definitely though wanted to make the film the best it could be, because there is a responsibility I have and an honor to be able to get to tell this person's story and contribute in some way towards her legacy. So that was very much on my mind. And there were maybe a couple moments where, you know, like our first day on set, we had a miscommunication with the location person. They thought we were coming an hour later than we were supposed to be.
And there you were.
So there was like a little moment of panic there. Oh no! But I had people around me who were like, "It's all gonna work out. It's all gonna be fine." Yep. And it was, and I'm very happy with how the film turned out.
Now I want to talk about the accordion.
Yes.
And then that'll lead into music too. But the accordion, how long have you been playing, or did you pick up the accordion just for this project?
No.
Or have you played the accordion before? And why? And why the accordion?
Right.
Such an unusual instrument.
I've been playing now for, I don't even know how many years. I think since I was 19. That seems about right. And I am, I'll tell you my age. I'm 26. So
you didn't grow up like, you know, when we get to choose an instrument in school when we're kids, like I played the violin or guitar. You didn't choose the accordion then. You didn't start playing it till you were 19?
Right. I played other instruments my whole life. I grew up playing piano, which helps
which
with
is
accordion.
Great. Yeah.
Because that's like a third of what you got to do is the key side of the accordion.
Right.
But I just always found it to be a fascinating instrument and was always intrigued by it. So I finally started learning it as a teenager.
So what intrigues you about it? Is it the sound that for me, it's the fact that it makes me think of the Alps. It does.
It's across so many different cultures.
Culturally, yes.
It comes up in mariachi and French and Italian. It's kind of universal in that way. It's a very distinct sound. I like that you use your whole body when you're playing it. Right. It's kind of a workout
the physicality, but they're different weights accordions.
Right, like when I played Judy's accordion in the film, she had a smaller one, so that's a lot easier for me to play versus my big heavy one.
So of course, you're like a size 0, and you have an enormous accordion. How do you do that? You just put your whole body into it?
Yeah, I can't really stand and play my typical big accordion. Judy's accordion, I could stand and play with it because it's tiny, but and a lot lighter weight than mine. But whenever I'm playing a show and I'm playing accordion, I usually need to be sitting down because otherwise I get very exhausted.
It would hurt. I think it would hurt your body, right?
Yeah,
your back and your But you're right. It's a good workout. You can like work your biceps when you're playing.
Because I play keyboard. I can play piano like with and you've got like your right hand and your left hand, the right, and And I'm trying to figure with an accordion, it's more chords, right?
Right. So you're playing the right hand the way you would in like a piano, and then your left hand is more of like a bass. So
you're moving around to the different buttons. So are those buttons like?
They're different chords.
They're chords.
Different chords.
Notes. So it would be like if I'm playing C, C major, C, C major, or C, C minor, G, C minor, that sort of thing.
Okay. But it's like having two things going on at one time.
Yeah, kind of.
You can't be dyslexic and do this.
It's kind of like playing the piano, where you have the melody over here and the chord
and the bass
over here. Yeah, a chord and the bass over here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you thinking of taking up accordion now, Tim? You're asking me. Is there an accordion in your future, Tym Moss? I could actually see you doing that.
Maybe for a song or something. I wouldn't mind it.
Maybe for a song. I wanted to ask you your personal opinion. Is it harder for women who are comedians to be actresses, do you think? Because knowing Judy's history, and she did do TV like for 17 years or so.
Yeah.
I felt she never got a deserved break that she should have.
Yeah.
Like I always felt she should have been bigger than she was. But then when I think about female comedians, other than like Phyllis Diller and Carol Burnett, who really laid their own path, it's
Joan Rivers.
Difficult. It's difficult. What's your opinion on it?
I think it's changed. I think Judy really laid the groundwork for our current generation, which is now I think we're really attracted to people that can do multiple things, that create their own stories, that are musicians as well as actors, or comedians as well as actors. Yeah. So I think a lot of the people who are consistently working in film and television now today, it's because they built something
diversified. They had a diversified
on their own time, be it doing stand up or making comedy videos that they put online or on social media. So it's definitely different now. But I would imagine that in Judy's generation, it was not necessarily the same thing.
Well, because you didn't have the internet. That's a big game changer. I mean, you just said it. You can create your own videos. You can create your own content.
Right.
Create your own promotion. You can be the creator.
Right.
She really was at, like so many, at the beck and call of casting directors or the people that are going to give you a job. And we definitely have more flexibility and more freedom now. But then the downside, and I talk about this all the time, like you came up in the world of video and all of that. The downside in that is everybody and their mother has a shingle out. I always say everybody does everything all the time. And there's so much out there. And you look at some of this and you go, that's really pretty awful. And then with like TikTok's got some really brilliant comedy stuff on it. And it's got other comedy things on it that I'm like, why is this person even making these videos? And my daughter, who's in your age group, said, you just don't get it, Mom. This is funny. It's so not funny to me, Taylor. It's just
right. I know what you mean.
Right? Why? Right? Tim agrees with me. We're like, why are you there? Why?
It's like a generational thing or something.
Go back into your hole. I don't know. So, have you been doing a lot of interviews in order to promote the film?
I have. Yeah.
So you become actually Judy's spokesperson too. You've really you've really taken on the mantle of Judy Tenuta, which is like pretty awesome. I bet 5 years ago, if someone told you that, you would have said, say what?
Surprising.
You know what? Yeah. It is surprising. It's interesting when you take on someone's life like this, like you did. Like I was telling Tim before the show started, Mariska Hargitay's new documentary about her mom.
Mother.
Jane Mansfield is incredible.
I haven't seen it yet. It looks amazing.
You're going to cry because whether you remember her or knew of her or whatever, and I want you to see it because I'm sure your piece is brilliant. And it influences me when I see something that's so brilliant. It emotionally moves me. You're sitting and you're watching it on HBO or Netflix. Yeah, it's a brilliant piece. And it tells the story of someone. you know what? If you weren't here telling Judy Tenuta's story, like who would tell it? Her family, her friends, but you're putting it out there in a big way.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking this on.
Well, now another thing that I want to touch on is
Yes.
You went on the Today Show.
Yes.
And you sang an original song, and they dubbed you Tomorrow's Talent Today.
Today, yeah.
Yes.
Tell us about that experience, because that is quite an honor. That's quite an honor.
Yes, it was. Yeah, that was so interesting because I did that during COVID. So I have now, like, since that, where I sang, I have come back to the Today Show and been in the studio, which is really
I love it.
Cool.
Yeah.
But that specific piece that they did on me, I was doing from Zoom out of my hotel room in Vancouver, where I was filming Resident Alien at the time.
Wow.
So it was pretty crazy to be on this national beloved show, just sitting in my hotel room
zooming
and
zooming with the Today Show.
Afterwards, getting a call from my mom, but not really getting a call from any of my California friends because they were all asleep. It was so early.
Oh yeah, right.
They all called me later after they watched it after the fact. But yeah, it was a pretty strange and very, very cool experience.
Very cool to be zooming during the pandemic with the Today Show, but also listening to what you said, you were able to work during the pandemic.
Yes.
They were. Here's the thing, Tim. I'm so bitter about this. They shut New York down. Nobody was able to do anything. Meanwhile, I'm turning on. It was Netflix, and I'm really able to do good backstories. I'm like, wait a minute. They made that film in Canada. There was so much production going on. Well, we were like sitting ducks here, wanting to be street performers just to do anything. You were able to shoot during that time.
I filmed a couple of things during COVID, which I was lucky to do, but man, I'm so glad that's behind us.
Oh,
it was
God.
It was so
Weird.
It was very isolating on set to film things during that time, because something I really love about filming is meeting the people that you're working with,
the interaction.
Yeah, with that, it was you simply couldn't. You were being swabbed every morning, and it was just very intense, and a lot of schedule changes as someone got sick, and
because people were getting sick, and then they'd have to stop the production.
Yeah, so
did you do a lot of close-ups shots?
That's a good question.
Where you're actually shooting a scene, but the other person's not actually there.
They because of shots where there'd be the two of us, and we've already sort of exposed to each other. I did have face-to-face with the other actors, but not really any crew members or
wow.
Yeah, you're right. It's very weird. We haven't talked to anyone, and we've had people that you've heard of on the show. No one worked. You're the first person, and it's interesting, this whole aspect of your career, that you were able to do that. But I have the same questions that Tim did. Like, how did they go about doing this? And you're right. It's like you have to hold on to your character, but yet they're coming over to swab you. It's like I think it would be very uptight. There's no, like you said, you love the interaction with other people. Now you're having to do your thing, but it's very, very uptight. There's always the worry of that.
Yeah, even the makeup artists, it was kind of hard for them because they would be wearing goggles and masks, so they couldn't even really see our faces when they're doing our makeup that well. So yeah, thankfully that's all in the past for many reasons.
I was in the shoot. I remember having to lift my mask up and down while the person with the goggles and the mask did my makeup. And I was saying, this is so damn bizarre. And they didn't even answer me. They must have been so over it at that point, right? But we all just want to work, right? At the end of the day.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tim. Because
I was going to change the subject, so go ahead.
How does one go about directing themselves in their project?
Interesting.
This is the first time you ever really directed yourself. Am I correct? In a film.
Yeah, I've made music videos where I'm acting in them. I've
Right.
made other films that I'm, I guess, directing myself to. I guess, that's, I think, where the cinematographer is able to be helpful and maybe, if needed, give you a thought or two, or if you
Okay.
have the luxury of time to be able to watch something back.
Oh, to watch the daily back.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering, if you
Yeah.
could watch the playback unobjectively.
Yeah.
I mean, I've worked as a director on mostly lower budget projects, so often you don't really have the luxury of time to get to do that.
Yeah.
But I guess it's just a lot of trust in yourself that you're going to be able to deliver. And, sometimes for me, I've found it helpful to just film at home, something I can watch back during my preparation process.
Right.
So that way I can kind of give myself notes at home, and then when I'm on set, just going for it. And I mean, that it's kind of the case when you're just acting in someone else's thing too. You're not, you have to put your trust in the people you're working with. I never really get to watch playback on a TV show or film set.
Yeah, you just get to do it, and
yeah, they always say with acting, like, you do the work and then you just have to kind of
let it
throw
go
it away and be in the moment and trust that that's enough.
Yeah.
I love that part of your process, though, when you're prepping, is to film yourself. I never had to do that. Then my auditions now are all like at home.
Right, me too.
And it's bizarre. I'm going to tell you, Taylor, I have not adjusted to it. I complain about it all the time because I'm in my apartment and I've set it up as best as I could, but I do a couple of takes and everything. I don't know if they're right. I don't know half the time of what I'm sending.
Yeah, that's the way with me is I like to walk into a room where the director is there, and I can say, because if the line is, "How are you?"
Right.
How do you want it?
Yeah.
Tell me and I'll give it to you,
Right.
But I don't know when I'm taping, is it, "How are you?"
Right.
How are you?
Yeah. No, but that's a really good point.
No, you don't. Every line can be delivered differently, and there's nobody to direct or to. If I knew what you wanted, I'll give it to you.
I believe me.
you often share that
Preach into the choir.
That same feeling. It makes it, for the actor, it makes it extremely one-dimensional. And I'll tell you, even on the other end, when they're looking through all of those casting tapes now, because before, like Judy Tenuta said at one point, she'd go on a casting and there'd be a million like her there, right?
Yes, we recreate that on
which is
film,
great,
actually.
because that's what it was. But now they call in everybody. It's like I'm like, oh look, I'm getting all these auditions, and somebody said to me, Wendy, they've called in 500 people on Zoom for that project from all over the country. I'm like, man, that pie just got really, really tiny. There's just a little crumb left. But it makes you think that, right? You just don't have a shot. It's interesting.
But I also I agree with you 100%, Taylor, as far as taking control. Like you want to do a project, do it rather than wait for somebody to come up with a project to hopefully cast me in.
Yeah,
sure.
I would much rather put a project in motion.
Yeah, I will say too, I think sometimes a director or casting director has an idea in their mind of what they're looking for, but maybe you come in and you do something that's very different than what they had in their head, but they like it even better than their original idea.
Exactly.
So while it's nice to be able to audition in person or have live feedback, sometimes it's maybe a blessing to be able to just bring more of yourself into it, and then maybe that's more exciting than trying to fit what you think they might want.
Well, I have also in the past, I am, when I walk into an audition room, you're going to remember me. That's my whole point, is I want you to remember me. And so I will bring flair and all kinds of stuff to it. And I've had a few times when I go into audition and the director says, I really like you, but you're not right for the for this role, so they will write me in. I have had them several times.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's great when that happens.
Because they want me to be involved in this project. And I can't do that on video.
No, it's really harder to do on your homemade tape and your
For sure.
in your home studio. You're promoting this film all over, and remind me before you leave, I'll give you 2 really good festivals. Do you have some new projects that you can share with us?
Not really anything I can share, but I will be posting soon about how I'll be playing a show in Los Angeles in September.
Oh my God.
So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward
with your
to
band.
It. With my band. So I played in a band called The 10th, and then I now have solo music out that's just under my name, Taylor Blackwell. So this is my project with my backing band.
Right.
Yes.
Nice.
But it's your project.
Yes.
Nice. Well, I want to kind of just touch on a few things. In addition to Resident Alien, you've also appeared on like NCIS, Grey's Anatomy, American Gigolo, Designated Survivor. You had to have been young for that one, right? When that show was out?
I think I was either like 19 or 20, maybe.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. I guess I didn't realize they ran that. Yeah, they were on for several seasons. Now that I think about it, yeah. But also, I want to touch on Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, mentored you?
Yes.
You directed him.
I did.
She directed Burt Reynolds.
Wow.
How many people can say that?
Tell us everything about Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
He was
okay, now we're going to spill the tea on this show. We want to know about Burt Reynolds. It's so good.
He was wonderful.
Wonderful.
Yes. He was my teacher. He and I grew up in the same town in
because
South
he's Florida. Yeah, Burt Reynolds Theater. Yeah.
Right. So he's from Jupiter. I'm from Jupiter, Florida.
Nice.
And he had a museum there that was really cool. It was all memorabilia from his films, and he had
incredible.
He had pictures from every big star you can imagine that were signed.
And he had his theater there.
Yes.
Did you ever go to
theater, right?
Burt Reynolds Theater?
So it's now he had the dinner theater there, and then it was taken over. I've performed at what it's now, it's called the Maltz Jupiter Theater.
Okay.
But I never performed there when he was running it. That was a little before my time.
Right.
But I did perform at his museum, which was also a theater, and it was called the Burt Reynolds Institute for Film and Theater.
How totally cool.
And I was in his acting class, and he was my mentor and a great encourager of me and my career. And
well, this is going to be the next film you produce. This is I mean, you can't play him, but you can have a role in it, right? This is it, Taylor. It's perfect.
And so you cast him in one of your films?
I made a film that I cast him in, as well as this actor Alex Deser, who's in my Judy Tenuta project as well.
Nice.
And it's one of Bert's last roles, if not it might be the last thing.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is really something to be able to sit here and say that.
Absolutely. I mean, Taylor, I'm so impressed with you.
I know.
I'm so happy for you, and I'm so proud of you.
Oh,
and I just want you just keep doing what you're doing. You are so
on
the right track. You're right on the right track.
You are what I say. You're one to watch. You are definitely.
Absolutely.
We have a couple of comments here today. The amazing Rose Trentman. Hello, my dear family. Rose also loves Seaside Heights, Tym Moss. She said, it's my playground. Okay, what's your favorite water slide then, Rose? You have to let us know. Rosita Valet, we love you, Tim. And
love you too, honey.
There she is again. Thank you all very much for tuning in. Taylor, this is so great to be able to sit here and talk to you. If in your next projects, do you want, and again, you are bi-coastal, but do you have theater on your mind at all?
Oh, absolutely. I would love to do stage.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You're certainly in the right place.
I got to perform at 54 Below here not too long ago.
That's so great.
Really
wow.
fun.
Great space. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And we opened up our show talking about Charles Busch, who's have you
Yes,
ever
sure.
seen any of Charles' work?
I don't know. I the name sounds familiar to me.
Just Google him.
Yeah.
You like to investigate.
Yes.
Watch Die Mommy Die,
Die Mommy Die.
Okay.
or Psycho Beach Party.
I heard you say. I like
Yeah,
that.
Psycho Beach Party or Vampire Lesbians of Sodom. Just when you're Googling, because I know you're a Googler.
Yes.
Oh, actually, yeah. The show that they're showing at the end of the month is I think Psycho Beach Party. I don't think
Psycho Beach Party, right.
but either one of those, he was kind of a pioneer in drag, and he writes theater where he plays roles in drag.
Right.
He was kind of like an underground cult sensation here in New York.
Oh,
And he also went to LA and did Die Mommy Die and Psycho Beach Party, and but definitely check him out. His incredible.
comedy, one of the reasons I want you to look at it, his comedy is just something that you probably haven't experienced yet. And because you're so smart, I want you to watch it and take it in and see what you get out of it. If you did Judy Tenuta, there's something about her that really turns you on. Definitely. You're a researcher.
Yes.
So am I. Listen, I got my degree in archaeology and I minored in theater. I like digging things up, whether it's about people or stuff or whatever.
Now, Taylor, did you say you have done theater before, or you have not?
Looking forward.
I did some theater growing up, but it's been a long time.
Yeah.
So now that I'm in New York, I'm really hoping.
Yeah, because there's just nothing like theater. It takes so much commitment, but it's just that live. Oh, it's so thrilling. I love theater. I love theater.
Well, and the whole thing of having a live audience around you it's just everything. We wish you so much luck with this, and
thank
you. You certainly have to keep us on your radar. If you're screening at any of the New York film festivals, please.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Let us know, because we come and support all of our guests that are on the show. And when you're performing with your band, I know you said you're going to be in LA next in September.
In September, but I'll definitely be playing some shows here.
You are going to be playing shows here. Great.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, in Brooklyn and in New York.
We'll be there. Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many.
I'll let you know if I'm next time I'm doing my cabaret show in the
Yes, absolutely. And the next time we do, we have a film coming up. Clove, our friends write films. We're part of a few groups of people that do their own thing. And you want to talk about working with low budgets, but we have a great time because
so fun.
Right. It's so fun. You get to perform with you. My favorite role was in a film called Drag to Death.
That was so fun.
It's like, I like high camp. That's my thing. Well, Judy Tenuta knew from high camp.
Yeah.
She really understood high camp. I love comedy. Listen, if you can't be laughing in this world, what else do you have, right?
Yes.
Thank you, everyone who tuned in today. And what a wonderful guest we had. Wishing you all the luck. And Taylor says she's going to keep us on her radar. Remember? Yeah, no, absolutely. And
please follow her on Instagram at The Musical Mushroom.
Yes. Is there anywhere else you want to follow? You want to tell us
your website?
And also that same thing on TikTok, and I have a website, taylorblackwell.net. And just you can reach out to me over email to tayblackwell@gmail.com.
Wow. She's giving away that email address. You might not have liked that you did that, but it's like when there's hundreds of emails.
So again, just so grateful that you came on. This was an absolute delight. Just getting to know you a little bit better.
Thank you.
Okay, and thank you, everybody. We'll be back next week. Take it easy. Bye-bye.